Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Shifting Perspective Initiative live event. This is the first SPI initiative or SPI program event that I intend to host. I don't know how many there will be. It will go as long as people are gaining benefit from it. So without further ado, just check everything is working. And yep, let's get started. So this week, we're doing 3 days. Day one today, I'm going to go through some information on how our mind works. So this session is basically intended as an extension of the live broadcast that I did last week, the Bob Proctor ones. Did you catch him? If not, don't worry, not worries at all, because this is a standalone seminar on its own. You might need a pen and paper, but it is also designed that there's not too much on the slides. So today we are going to look at how our mind works. Tomorrow we will look at how to get our mind working for us. So taking the knowledge that we've learnt today and transforming it with some helpful hints and tips and techniques that I have tried myself, that other people have tried, that we know work, that will then help you to make your mind the best that it can be for you. And then on Thursday, there will be a quick summary and a live Q&A. I'm not sure on the format of that yet. It all depends how many people are on the stream on Thursday evening. Because to do a live Q&A where people can put their hand up and they can talk, I can only set it up if there are people on the stream. So we'll see how we go. Okay, so we do have a couple of people with us this evening. So hi. Okay, so let's get started with today. So today, how our mind works, we're going to look at a welcome. We're going to look at our higher faculties, why we must have a goal, what is mind, paradigms, or more currently being referred to as neuro-linguistic programming. I won't call it too much for that because I am not a qualified practitioner in that. I will be. I'm working on it, but I am not just yet. And then why we need to keep our mind open. So let's get started with our welcome. As I've said, this session is intended as an extension of the live broadcast of the Think and Grow Rich webinar from last week. Don't worry if you didn't attend. This is a standalone webinar. I'm not going to say, oh, so-and-so said and blah, blah, blah. No. This you will be able to watch and gain as much insight into it as if you had or hadn't watched the Think and Grow Rich. I have deliberately made sure I haven't put too much on the slides so that you can listen along wherever you are. I personally do a lot of my listening to recordings and helpful videos and things like that while I'm driving. So obviously I can't be looking at the slides. So I've deliberately not put on too much from each of the slides. SPI itself, the Shifting Perspective Initiative, it's designed to help people get out of their own way. So it's designed to shift your perspective to look at the world in a different way. Means opening up more opportunities, ideas and results that then help you get closer to your goal more quickly. Okay, so higher faculties. In the Think and Grow Rich book and on the seminars last week, it was mentioned that it is only our mind that sets us aside from a dog or a horse or any other animal on earth. When we're at school and when we're growing up and even into our adult lives, we are taught about our 5 senses, okay? Our hearing, our smell, our sight, our taste and our touch. But we share all of those with the rest of the animal kingdom. But these abilities are not the only thing that we have as humans. What sets us aside from every other creature on the planet is our higher faculties. But very few people know what they are. Even fewer people know how to use them, and even fewer people than that are actually using them. So every other creature blends in with their environment. Okay? Like I said, we are different from a dog or a horse by the fact that we have these higher faculties. And all of these other creatures, they do blend in with their environment. But we as humans, we don't blend in. We create our environment. Okay, we create the environment that we want using our higher faculties. Sometimes consciously, other times we kind of just stumble across it by accidentally using them and not actually understanding what we've done. So exploring and strengthening these faculties greatly improves our chances of creating, enjoying the life that we want. So I'm going to explain each one of the 6 in turn, and I'm also going to give you some ideas that you can start with right away to start strengthening them so that you can use them more effectively. So number 1, we have reason. Our faculty of reason is what we use to think, to analyse, to compare, to evaluate ideas. It's our thinking ability. It's the primary way that we choose, and we use it in every single choice we make. Okay, so if you have a choice to make, it's your reasoning faculty that helps you to make that choice. But it also has another really important capability. It can take all the information that it has, so all of our information that goes into our conscious mind, it can then use that to come up with brand new ideas. Okay, so one way that you can strengthen your reasoning faculty is by practicing being unreasonable. Okay, reasonable to most people means stifling or sacrificing or not following through with their own dreams and goals out of fear. So it's the fear of disappointing someone else, it's the fear of being laughed at, fear of going against the crowd or disrupting the status quo. Ooh, what is so-and-so going to think if I do this? However, neuroscience has shown that we are holding back, and we're only actually using about 5% of our brain. So if you are really thinking about what you want in life, you're not going for it because you're afraid that it might be unacceptable or impossible. Okay? So to practice being unreasonable means to actually go and get what you think is unreasonable, when in fact it's not. Okay? So reasonable, it doesn't mean, oh, what's the neighbours going to think? Who cares? It's your life. Go and live your life how you want to do it. So the best way to practice strengthening your reasoning faculty is to write down the ways that you are holding back on going for or even acknowledging what you really want in life, because you're worried about it being unacceptable, unreasonable. What is so-and-so going to think? Okay, so write down the ways that you hold back, and then completely relax and come up with a list of new ideas and strategies that are going to help you to get what you want, and give absolutely no mind to what other people might think. They're not you. They're not living your life. Why do we all as individuals have to stop doing what we want to do because somebody else doesn't like it? I know as a species we can't live without each other, really. But equally, if you are holding back from doing your dreams because you're worried about what someone else might think, it's not actually guaranteed that they're thinking that. It's you thinking that they are thinking that because that's what you would think in their shoes. Make sense? It will. Don't worry. Okay, our next higher faculty is intuition. So it's that small voice down inside that speaks your truth. Okay, as you learn to turn down the volume of the noise around you and the voice of your paradigm, which is your inner voice, which we'll cover shortly, and turn up the volume of your intuition, which some people call the sixth sense, but it's not really a sense, it's a higher faculty, your life will become fuller and you will feel more connected to others. So, way to strengthen your intuition is just stop and listen to your inner voice. Okay? It's hard to tune into it when you're constantly busy. Take some time each day. Some people do it as meditation. Some people do it as going for a walk. Just being completely present with you, with yourself, and the way that your mind is working in that moment. So take some time every day to slow down and be more open to your higher self. If you're looking for an answer to a question, or you have a decision to make, start looking inside yourself first for the answers before you choose which path to take, and especially before you ask other people what their opinion would be. Your intuitive messages come from higher spirits, higher beings. Some people would say God. Some people just say the higher spirit or the supreme power. Okay? and they fade from your conscious mind very, very quickly. So as soon as you get a light bulb moment, at any point, make a note of it, because that's your intuition telling you this could work to get you where you want to go. And it will be completely random. Can be in the middle of the night, can be while you're driving, can be in the middle of a meeting, could be while you're eating, anytime. So always have something close by where you can write down. Ooh. Press the wrong button. Okay, the next one is the will. So the will is what we use to focus our attention. Many people have trouble staying focused. I know I do. And we bounce around from one thing to another, to another, to another, to another. Ooh, shiny. Yeah? Know how that feels? It's annoying, isn't it? But it is just part of who we are. But we never finish anything when we're like that. We live in a very distracting world. We've got TVs, we've got phones, we're constantly on call. There's notifications going off left, right, and centre. We are living in a very, very distracting world. But the will used properly, as it was designed to be used, is really sustained concentration. So you have the ability with your will, and all of us have it, we just need to train it, to actually stay focused on a single thing for as long as we decide. Okay? What a person concentrates on, they think about, and what they think about, they become. Okay? So, a tip for enhancing your will is to put a dot opposite your favourite chair or light a candle. So you've just got a flickering flame, and then simply focus on it. When your mind starts to wander, no, bring it back to the dot. Don't give yourself a hard time. It will take practice for you to hold your focus for more than a couple of seconds at any one time. Okay? It is very hard to do. Trust me, I've tried. But I'm getting better. Okay? As soon as your mind wanders off on something else, as soon as you notice, go and bring it back. Don't beat yourself up. Don't get stressed over it. Just notice that you've wandered off and bring it back to the dot or the candle. Practice that. Simple exercise. It will help you to then be able to focus on more important things later in your day. Okay, next up, memory. Interesting quote here. Everyone has a photographic memory. Some people just don't have any film. Now, you might find that quite amusing. I know I do. But it's true. Consider that we've all got a perfect memory. We just need to train our brain or train our mind properly to realise it and to use it. There are people out there who can remember the order of a pack of 52 cards, or people that can completely memorise the holy books. Okay? Every single person on the planet has that ability. It's us that tells us that we don't. Okay? So one way that you can help your memory, like build your memory, is when you're trying to remember something, such as somebody's name, use all of your senses, as many as you can. Okay? So look them dead in the eye, shake their hand. Right? So then you're using your sight, you're using your hearing when they tell you their name, and you also touch. Okay? And you can probably smell. It's going to sound weird, but you can smell people as well. Every single person has a slightly different smell. So use all 4 of your senses to remember that person's name. Okay? So the more senses you involve when you learn or do something new, the easier it will be to remember it. Okay, next up we have our imagination. It is simply incredibly powerful. It allows you to create absolutely anything out of absolutely nothing. It's what you use to take an idea, something that's absolutely non-physical, and turn it into something physical. Every single thing we have around us, books, phones, computers, everything started as an idea in somebody's mind. They then followed that idea through and created the thing. Okay, so we use our imagination to create things, experiences and circumstances in our lives. However, many times we unconsciously use it the wrong way. We imagine bad things happening to us or the other things that we don't want. Okay, we seem to be quite a negative species. So if you going into a situation, instead of thinking, oh, this might happen, it could be the most amazing experience on the planet, you'll go, but I could trip over. I could make an absolute fool of myself. I might end up in a car crash. We think of the negative, but it's all imagined. It's an imagined reality that, unfortunately, when you focus on it too much, becomes reality. So why not focus on what could happen that's positive? Okay? Try it. You never know. Okay, so the key is to learn to use your imagination to create the experiences that you most want in life. So if there's something that you really want in life, focus on that. Don't focus on what could happen that could go wrong or things that you don't want. Focus on what you do want. And the simple way to fine-tune and increase your imagination capacity is to daydream. I love daydreaming. Kids do it all the time. So more deliberate than just merely dreaming. It's what takes it more effective, or it is more effective in opening your mind to possibilities. And I wrote down a little quote here by Edgar Allan Poe. He said, "They who dream by day are cognizant of many things which escape those who dream only by night." Cognizant means that you're more mindful and aware. Okay, so daydreaming during the day makes you more aware than those who just dream at night. Okay, you've all heard the song "A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes" from Sleeping Beauty, possibly. I won't sing it. But every single day, take a break from your daily tasks to relax and let your mind wander. I like to do it just as I'm drifting off to sleep, because then I get some really awesome dreams. Never remember what I dream, but I always wake up in a good mood, so they must be good dreams. And also maybe while I'm eating, or if I'm travelling, not the driver, but if I'm the passenger, I'll sit and look out of the window, make shapes in the clouds, and use my imagination to just wander off somewhere where I want to be. I will be honest and say that I did do some daydreaming today while I was supposed to be teaching. But I have been in a secondary school today. I am a part-time supply teacher because I can't let go of working with the kids. Absolutely love it. But today was particularly difficult. It's the end of term, nearly. It's windy, and they were just... So instead of being in the room where I didn't really want to be in a couple of the lessons, I went off daydreaming while they were sat doing an activity. Okay? I'm aware of what's going on around me, but I'm also off somewhere else where I'd rather be. So have a daydream session every single day. What would you do if you turned your annual income into your monthly income? What would a perfect day look like for you? Who would make an ideal life partner? Amuse yourself by speculating on ways you would like to see your life improve. It will soon become a habit, and then one day your daydreams might be your reality. And that is something that we're going to cover later on. Okay, and the last one, your perception. This quote by Wayne Dyer really sums up perception. So when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So perception controls what you become aware of in your environment. It's what you're looking at and how you choose to see it. Laws of the universe. The biggest overarching law of everything is that energy just is. It's our mind that makes it positive or negative. Nothing that happens to you is positive or negative. It's both. So every single thing that happens every single day has equal amounts of good and bad in it. It's your perception of that thing that makes it negative or positive. Okay, so there's polarity in everything. Front, back, up, down, in, out, good, bad. All right? The good is not always in the thing itself, but what comes from it. And we always have the choice of what to focus on. All right? This is one that I like to use with children because it's very, very simple. Or I use a card that I have tucked into my phone that is completely blank on one side and has writing on the other. And I'll say to them, I'll show them the blank side and say, this card has writing on it. They'll be like, no, it doesn't, you're wrong. Well, from where I'm standing, it's got writing on, and then I'll turn it round. And it's the same with this picture here, the 6 and the 9. If you draw a big 6 on the floor in front of you and go round to the other side, it's a 9. It's right both ways. But depending on where you're looking at it from, will depend on whether it's a 6 or whether it's a 9. So a singular perception in your life can prohibit your growth. A different one can exponentially expand it. So keep shifting your position and your perception on things until you find the one that really works, that makes you feel good, makes you feel in tune with everything around you, and then focus on that one. All right? So, to achieve your goals and your dreams, stop focusing on your external. Okay? So, things that you see, hear, taste, touch, and smell, they are your external senses. Stop focusing on them. Be aware of them. Okay? But don't let them control you. It's called thinking from the outside in. If you are focused on everything around you, you're focusing on the outside coming in. That puts the outside world in control. It limits you to what you have achieved already, because you're looking at your results rather than looking at the possibilities. So you're looking at what you have now, you're thinking about what you have now, you're creating more of what you have now. All right, and I have got some a nice little picture sequence that will explain this in a moment. Very simple picture. Like I said, you do not have to be completely focused on the screen to be able to understand it, because I will describe it. But if you can start thinking from the inside out, using your mental faculties, so reason, intuition, will, memory, imagination, and perception, and you start with your imagination, you imagine what you want, and then you use your will to keep your attention there. It's listening to and acting on the voice inside and seeing the good in everything, right? So shifting your perceptions, your perspective, shifting perspective, ta-da, to help you to see things from another point of view. It's creating future memories and continually seeing and feeling like the person that you want to be. So your imagination is incredible. You can be whoever you want to be. And if you're constantly thinking like that person, you will become them. Okay? It is proven. It does work. And I'll be going more into that in a moment. So mind doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. So imagine the things that you want, see yourself with them, allow yourself to feel how you will feel when you have them. Every single time you do that, so even if it's 5 minutes every now and then throughout the day, you plant your desire in the garden of your subconscious mind. With increasing repetition, the image becomes fixed, and then by law, it's only a matter of time before it moves into form. Unlike all the other species on this wonderful planet, we are not spectators in an objective world. We are co-creators, involved in forming not only what we experience, but also how we experience it. But what do we know? How do we know what to focus on? All right, and that leads us into why we have to have a goal. All right, brilliant book on this, Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz, written back in the 1960s, but still massively useful today. So Maxwell Maltz was a plastic surgeon, and he noticed through his work that it didn't matter how well he fixed somebody. So if they had like a big scar down their face, he could fix that so that it was completely gone. But he noticed that not every single person that he helped thought of themselves as helped. It's almost like they had an internal self-image where even though their face had completely changed, they still saw themselves as the person with that face. They still saw themselves as the person who had the scarred face, who had the big nose, who had the huge ears, all right, that had the strange birthmark. They still saw themselves as that person, and they still acted like that person, even though it was gone. So I've done a write-up on each of the chapters of Psycho-Cybernetics on my blog. So it's on my website. Links are below. rethinkyourperspective.com/blog. If you type into the search bar on there, psycho, because Psycho-Cybernetics is quite long to spell for most people, but psycho, it will bring up all 15 chapters and my overview of them. Really, really helpful. Even better, go and get the book And no, I'm not an affiliate, or do I make any money from representing this book? But I just think it's just such a brilliant book, and it really is helpful. All right, it really goes into our creative mechanism, which is what links us to the supreme, or to spirit, or to God, or whoever you want to call it, that higher thing, and helps us to then use our imagination to put wheels in motion to create the world that we want to live in. So the main theme that runs through psycho-cybernetics is that people need something to live for. He uses the example of a lot of men in the 60s, especially, not so much now, but a lot of men in the 60s would retire and then would die very soon after, because it was almost like they had nothing left to live for. They weren't working anymore. They would just spend all day sitting in their rocking chair, reading the paper, and that would be it. They had no spark, no get up and go. We need something to be striving towards. We must be growing, or we're staying stuck. And there's quite a few examples in the book where he says you can actually convince a young, healthy man or woman, you can make them think that they're old before their time by completely convincing them that there's nothing to live for. You've heard the whole people in their 30s who look like they're in their 70s, and vice versa, people in their 70s who look like they're in their 30s. Those people who look old before their time, they haven't got something to aim for. There's no life in their life. They've got nothing that they're working towards. So they're run down, they're tired. And that might be you as well. And that's what this information is going to help you become aware of and to change. Okay, those 70-year-olds that are still spry and sprightly and look like they're 30, they are working towards something. They have a goal. They have a purpose. They have something to strive for, and that keeps them young. It's like the fountain of youth. The book's brilliant, really goes into it in much detail. Okay, so to grow, we must make changes. Our results must always be under construction. So if you've got a goal that you're going for, when you reach it, celebrate, enjoy it, but then set another goal. We always need to be growing. And even when we have a goal, you've got something that you're working for, something that you really, really want, we can still get stuck. So we still feel like there's something else that's stopping us from doing it. And that is called a paradigm, which we are going to go into very, very shortly. Okay, but first I just want to cover what is mind. So our mind is not our brain, and our brain is not our mind, no more than that we are our hand. We don't say am hand, we say my hand. We are a spiritual being living in a physical body. There's no religious connotations to that. I am agnostic, which means I believe in something, but I don't know what, so I don't relate to any individual religion. It just considers the use of faith, not religious faith, just faith and belief. So mind is the conscious control switch that sends signals to the body via the brain, which is the electrical switching station. The body is then the manifestation of the electrical signals. So the mind is the conscious control switch, basically. What we think, we feel, we do. Make sense? Cool. If this is going too fast or if it's too much, feel free to drop me a message or comment or get in touch in any way, shape or form. Like I said, we are doing a live Q&A on Thursday, which will help go into this a bit better. But first things first. Mind is a conscious mind, and we also have a subconscious. So our conscious mind, it's our educated mind. It's where all the information that we learn goes in and is stored. It's our rational mind. We have the higher faculties there. So we can use it to reason, I suppose, our way through things. It's also where we receive all our sensory inputs, and it has the free will to think and to choose. So you could see the whole world going really, really wrong around you. You can choose to ignore that. You can say, no, I don't agree with that. I'm going to think about this instead, and then use your imagination. So you have the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind, the ancient Greeks referred to as the heart. It's our emotional mind. It's completely subjective. which means anything that we think in our conscious mind goes straight into our subconscious. It has to accept it. It cannot reject anything. It's the home of our paradigms, which is the next slide. And it feels what you are thinking. So whatever you're thinking, your subconscious then feels that. It has absolutely no free will. It does exactly what the thinking mind tells it to do. And you are in full control of your thinking mind, however much you think you're not. Okay, so paradigms, neuro-linguistic programming. Okay, back in 1934, Dr. Thurman Fleet created the stick person, which is the image that I'm going to go through in a moment. It's very, very simple. We are visual thinkers. We think in pictures. No one's ever seen the mind, so it is something that most cannot picture, and therefore most cannot make sense of it. So like I said, Dr. Thurman Fleet created this little stick person image to help the healing arts be able to treat the whole person rather than just the physical symptoms. All right. So a paradigm is a multitude of habits stored in the subconscious mind. 95% of our behavior is subconscious. Hence why we don't do what we know how to do. Okay? You've got all this information sitting up in your conscious mind. Okay? Remember, back in the conscious mind, it's got all this information. But 95% of our behavior is subconscious. So unless you turn that information that is up in your conscious mind into a habit, you ain't going to do it. How many times have you been to training or seen training and you've gone, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm so enthused, blah, 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 everything's brilliant. I've got so many new ideas. 2 weeks later, you've done nothing. Because you didn't create the habit. And we're all guilty of it. It's called a knowing-doing gap, which is one of the lessons as part of our paid program, which I will go into later, not for now. Okay, so paradigms, stick person. Let's go through it. So imagine, if you will, a circle. Nice, simple circle. Draw a line across the middle. Now this circle represents your whole mind. So it could represent your head. Okay, it's not your head because this picture is not to scale, but it represents your mind. Top half is the conscious mind, the thinking mind, and the bottom half is the subconscious mind. Okay, so you've got a circle, line across the middle, almost like from ear to ear, across your nose, conscious mind above, subconscious mind below. And underneath that is another little circle with 2 arms, 2 legs and a neck, which represents your body. As I said, this is not to scale. The mind, figuratively, is bigger than the body because it controls the body. Without the mind, there is no body. Okay? So, we think with our conscious mind, our rational mind, our higher faculties, our education is all in the conscious mind. So we think. Whatever we are thinking becomes what we feel. And whatever you're feeling in your subconscious, in your heart, puts the body in a certain vibration. Have any of you heard of law of attraction? It's quite a big thing going around at the moment. It seems to be the in phrase, which is good because of what it entails. Okay, so your vibration puts out the actions from your body. So if, for example, if you're thinking crappy, you're feeling crappy, you're putting out a crappy vibration, your actions aren't going to be the best. You're going to be quite sluggish, you could be lashy-outy, anything like that. You just look down in the dumps. Whatever you put out as your action, which is based on your vibration, which is based on what you're feeling, which is influenced by what you're thinking, the universe returns to you equally. So if you put out crappy to the universe, you get it back. Give you an example. When you leave the house in the morning in a really crappy mood, so you've spilt your breakfast, you've stubbed your toe, you've put your socks on inside out, you've spilt toothpaste down your tie, whatever, you've just left the house in a real bad mood, and you drive to work, and every single red light is red. So every single traffic light turns red, stop signs, all red. Or every single possible person cuts you up. It's because you're attracting it. You can only see the bad because that's the vibration that you're in. Okay? And your action-reaction creates your conditions, your circumstances, and your environment. All right? Are you with me so far? Hope so. Let's get this to move on a little bit. Cool. So, if you are thinking negative thoughts, so you are focusing on your current conditions, circumstances, environment, they're not where you want to be, and you're just a little bit down in the dumps or a lot down in the dumps, okay, each to their own, you then create negative thoughts because you're focusing on what you've got now rather than what you could have. Just going to have a quick drink. Okay, so you're focusing on the negative. That creates worry, doubt, and fear. The what ifs. Oh, what if so-and-so's at work today? What if I fall down the stairs? What if? Okay, creates worry, doubt, and fear. This then makes you anxious because you're worrying, you're doubting, and you're scared. All right? Anxiety is a real thing, and it's caused by worry, doubt, and fear. Most times, these worry, doubts, and fears are completely imagined. They are things that could happen. Haven't happened, could happen. Okay? Our anxiety is then suppressed because we don't like to tell the world when we're struggling. That's just a humanism, I suppose. It is getting better at the moment. Mental health isn't such a swear word anymore, which is absolutely brilliant. People are able to voice their concerns and their upsets and their problems without being ridiculed, which is a brilliant step forward. Okay? But we suppress our anxiety, which causes depression, which is just basically anger turned inwards, which then puts our body at dis-ease. Not disease, dis-ease. Okay? Now, if you think about what your paradigm controls in this sense, things get a little bit more complicated. So our paradigm controls our ability to earn money. We can never earn more than what we're earning now without making changes. And our paradigm doesn't like making changes. It wants you to stay exactly where you are now. It's safe, it's known, it's predictable. If you've only ever earned 20 grand a year, it's very hard to then turn that into 50 grand without your paradigm going, what are you doing? All right? It makes you scared. Negative thoughts, worry, doubt, and fear, you don't do it. Okay? Also controls our perception. So if you are in a negative thought process, you are only going to see negative. Okay? Its perception is also our stereotypes, our beliefs, things and ideas that are given to us when we're small and that we grow up with, which filter down through generations of our families. So it's not your fault and it's not their fault. Nobody's to blame, but you can change your beliefs and your stereotypes. Okay? Also controls our use of time. Do you have someone at work or at home who is always late? Doesn't matter what they do, they can set their alarm half an hour earlier, they can deliberately try and get somewhere really, really early. They're always late. It's a paradigm. It's a habit. Their paradigm says, I am always late. So until they change that habit consciously, which is something that we will go into tomorrow about habit changes, they will always be late. And I bet you know someone who fits that bill. Also controls our creativity. How many people do you know that say, I'm not creative? We all are. Every single one of us is a creative being. We have a creative mechanism. We can create absolutely anything we want in our imagination. But we tell ourselves, because maybe we were ridiculed as a child, that our artwork isn't as good as someone else's. And then we're instantly like, no, I'm not creative. You are. You can be. Okay? You just need to change the paradigm. Also controls our effectiveness and our productivity. Procrastinator? Yeah, I feel you. I used to procrastinate something rotten and I still do. But now I have strategies that will help me to stop procrastinating when I notice. All right? It's a habit, it's a paradigm. When you get into the rut, of being a procrastinator or being unproductive or being ineffective. You're busy, you're not lazy, but you can always find something else to do that's not the thing you should be doing. It's a habit. It's controlled by our paradigm. And lastly, our logic, our reasoning, our ideas is all controlled by our paradigm. Now, if you think about that in terms of negative thoughts, you can see how we stay stuck. Because if we're focusing on our current conditions, circumstances, and environment, and our paradigm is in control of all of these things, no wonder we're stuck. No wonder we're stressed. If we are focusing on the things that we have now that we don't want, we can't change it. But there is a way out. All right? And that's with positive thoughts. So you can see your results and you can say, I don't want that anymore. And instead of going, I don't want that, and focusing on that, you can think, I want this instead. I want to be earning my annual salary in a month. And your paradigm's going, whoa, 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 no, no. And you'll get that horrible feeling in the pit of your stomach. But that's where, going back to the goal, you need the goal that excites and scares you. If it scares you, it's because it's too different to what you are used to now. But to grow, we need to step out of our comfort zone. So start thinking of what you want rather than what you have now. So the opposite to worry, doubt, and fear is knowledge and understanding. So if you are going for a big goal, you want to be earning that extra money, you want that promotion, you study. Plain and simple. You go and find the information that you need to make that next step. You notice that you're procrastinating and you get over it. You do a 10-minute task. You go for a quick wander around the house. You do a crazy little ritual thing or something. All ideas will go into tomorrow. Today is more information. Tomorrow is how. Okay? So you go into yourself and you work out what information you need to get to that thing that you want. Okay? Having the knowledge and understanding wipes out the worry, doubt, and fear. Worry, doubt, and fear is caused by not knowing. Okay? You don't know what you don't know, so you worry about it. But if you are trying to go for something that you really want, then you study it, you understand it, you've got nothing to worry about because you know what you're doing. Okay? This creates belief and faith. So you start believing that you can do it. You start telling your paradigm to do one. Wait, no, I can do this. I believe in it. I have faith that I can do it. And I know that as I take steps towards it, it will take steps towards me. Paradigm, bye-bye. It's a consistent process. Okay? You have to consciously be focusing on the thing that you want, not the thing that you don't want. Okay? This creates wellness. You just feel good. You can't help but express when you're feeling really, really, really good. Okay? Puts your body at ease. All right? So this little diagram and these few words are the key to shifting your paradigm. You have the choice to either see a situation as negative or to see it as positive. You have a choice. No one else controls what you think about. You are in full control of your thoughts. Now you might think, no, but when such and such gives, no. You choose what you accept and reject. Just because so and so says something, if it doesn't resonate with you, bye-bye, kick it out. Me personally, I haven't watched the news for months because it's all doom and gloom. It's all, oh, what about this? What about that? And my husband watches the news and he'll be constantly telling me things like I'm in the UK, so Truss, our new Prime Minister, has done such and such. She's getting kicked out of Parliament. They're all going to uprise against her, blah, blah. It hasn't happened. It's scaremongering. Why can't they report on what's actually happening rather than what could happen? Or if they're going to report on what could happen, find the positive. Rather than focusing on doom and gloom and the economy's crashing and blah, 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 blah. No. You make your own economy. You make your own mind up. There was a famous case, and I can never remember his name, which is really frustrating. I need to write it down. Famous case of a Jewish man who was in a German concentration camp during World War II. And he got this sudden realization that the mind and what he was thinking is the last human freedom. It didn't matter what they did to his body. It didn't matter what they said to him or what they told him. If he didn't believe it, he didn't have to believe it. And he spent his whole time in that concentration camp basically daydreaming about being somewhere else. And he remained calm and happy and focused on what he had to do every single day, but he wasn't there. He was somewhere else. And he did that through his imagination. And you can do that too. If you don't like where you are now, don't focus on it. You are aware of it. You have to be. Same as we have to be aware when we cross the road. But you don't have to focus on it. Choose to focus on the positive. Put your body at ease instead of in dis-ease. Okay? Now, the last little bit I want to cover this evening is why we need to keep an open mind. All of this information I have covered tonight is quite heavy if you've never heard it before. So the key to it is keeping an open mind. Your paradigm wants your mind shut down. It only wants to know what it knows, and it doesn't care about anything else. It doesn't care that you're unhappy where you are now. It doesn't give a toss. It's quite selfish. It's 95% of your behaviours. All right? And as I put in a little video, the little short that I put out on YouTube yesterday and across my social media today, try and put your shoes on with the opposite foot first. Okay, so go and test yourself after the video. Go and put your shoes on and notice which foot you automatically put in first, which shoe you put on first. Then the next time you try and put your shoes on, consciously make the decision to put the other shoe on first, and you'll feel really uncomfortable because it's against your paradigm. It's not normal. It's the same as like when you put your socks on or put your trousers on. Okay, you always put one leg in before the other. And it's really confusing when you do it the other way around. And you feel really crappy because you're like, oh, hang on, no, it just doesn't feel right. It's the same as like if you put your fingers together and then put your thumbs over. Your thumbs will naturally fall in one way. So mine goes left and then right over left. Put your thumbs back up and cross them over the other way. It feels really uncomfortable. It doesn't feel normal. It's the same as if you sit cross-legged. You'll always cross one leg over the other. And it feels really off if you do it the other way around. It's paradigm, it's habits. All right? So you need to keep an open mind with all of this stuff. You need to squash any complaints or negative, unhelpful comments from your paradigm. Oh, I can't do that. They can do that. Yeah, that's fine. They can do it because, but I can't do it because. Not relevant. It's paradigm. Tell it to do one. All right? They will come up because this is potentially very different information than what you've ever been taught so far. All right? But an open mind is believing over wishing. Okay? So wishing, when you wish upon a star, is hoping and dreaming with no action. You're waiting for it to come for free. So in Pinocchio, Geppetto made his wish on the star, and the blue fairy came. And yes, she granted his wish, but that's because he believed, and he really wanted it, and he made the puppet, and he really wanted the little boy. And the blue fairy granted his wish, but she didn't grant it fully. She gave Pinocchio the responsibility of actually creating that dream come true. All right? Believing is dreaming and taking action to get to the dream. So it's understanding that nothing comes for free. It's taking a leap of faith. Believing that you will succeed by taking steps towards the thing that you want. It's not blind faith. It's a true belief in yourself and your abilities. And if you think you can't do it, it's because you don't know enough. Go back to the other slide. Increase your knowledge and your understanding so that you know more. The more you know, the more you'll believe in yourself. The more faith that you'll have that you will get there. I bet the first time that this person looked at those two rocks, he was like, I can't jump that. But he did, or he is doing. Okay? So both religion and science they agree that belief is the key. Belief changes when we reevaluate something. We change our perspective. All right? So you could have a really deep-seated belief that controls your life. I can't earn more than 20 grand. That's a belief. It's a fact. You've never done it before. But actually, if you go back in time, you didn't start your career earning 20 grand. I know I didn't. I was earning maybe 16, and then I had a pay rise to 20. There's nothing to say I can't get a pay rise again, but we believe that we can't because we've been at that level for so long. But you've done it before. You can do it again. You have to believe that changes can happen, and they will. All right? So, to recap, we did our welcome. We covered our higher faculties. So can you remember all 6? So we had the reason, intuition, will, memory, imagination, and perception. They are the 6 things that put us above all the rest of life on earth. Without those 6 things, we'd be no different than a horse or a dog. Animals blend in, we do not. We create our environment if we choose to create it. Okay? We then looked at why we need a goal, and we covered psycho-cybernetics very briefly. We need a goal because we need something to be working towards. If we're not working towards something, we seize up. So think of it like a mechanical engine or an electric system. If it's not used, it seizes up and doesn't work. Keep using it every day, it stays free and easy and just glides through life. Humans are exactly the same. We need something to be working towards to be able to achieve, to feel like we're living. Otherwise, there's no point in life. We then covered what is our mind. It's not our brain, in the same way that we are not a hand. It's my hand, it's my brain. My mind is a spiritual being living in a physical body. Okay, we had the subconscious and the conscious mind. We then went into paradigms and the neuro-linguistic programming, and we looked at the stick person. So circle on top, line across the middle, conscious mind above, subconscious mind below, and the body below as a second circle below with little arms and legs. All right? What you think becomes what you feel. So what you think in your conscious, your educated, your rational mind, where your senses go in and your higher faculties live, whatever you think up here gets suppressed onto your subconscious mind, onto your heart, creates your feelings. So if you're thinking crappy, you're gonna feel crappy. Whatever you're thinking, whatever you're feeling, creates the vibration that your body is in. Whatever vibration you are in attracts other stuff to it. The universe doesn't care what you give it. It will give you back what you give it. So if you give it negative, it's going to give negative back. All right? Your paradigm controls so much in your life. Okay? So it controls your ability to earn money, controls your perception, your use of time, your creativity, your effectiveness, your productivity, and your logic. And you choose what you think about all of those things. So if you are thinking negative, it's because your paradigm is negative on those things. But you can choose to think positive. You think positive by studying and gaining more understanding. Puts your body at ease instead of dis-ease. Right? And then we covered why we need to keep an open mind. We need to believe. You need to believe before you can see. Believing is seeing, not seeing is believing. You must believe before you can see. Okay? Now, I am a teacher. And this stuff only works if you really apply it. So I have some little tasks for you to do before our next session. So choose one of the exercises from the higher faculty section and have a go. See how you are. You might be absolutely rubbish. I was. But it gets better with time. If you have time between now and when you watch the next video, next live video will be the same time tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Do more than one. Okay? Practice sitting in your favourite chair, looking at a spot on the other side of the wall and bringing your mind back. Okay? If that really doesn't appeal, try meditation. Right? It has the same effect. Just need to catch your mind and bring it back. builds up your focus, builds up your concentration. Okay, imagination. Go and imagine. Go and really think about what it is that you want and focus on that picture every single day. If you follow me on any of my social media, you will see that I have recently painted a picture of the house that I will live in. That is my big, big dream goal, is that house. And I've painted it now, and it sits on the wall at the end of my bed. And because I'm a creative, and I was working in a school the other day that were turning paintings and combining painting with fabric and a sewing machine, how cool is that? I will be making that kind of thing of my dream house as well. And that I will have framed and put up on a wall somewhere else in the house, because that's what I'm working towards. All right. And the last thing I want you to do for your homework is to just sit down and write a list of everything you want. As soon as your mind or your subconscious or your paradigm goes, you can't have that because, say, that's what I want. Doesn't matter if you can get it. Doesn't matter if you know how to get it. That's the point. It's focusing on what you want. All right. Any questions, any queries on any of that, please feel free to get in touch. I thank you for watching this session with me this evening. I hope that you will follow me on Facebook or Instagram or like my YouTube channel, any of those. Use any of the contact details you can see either below or on the screen. That way. Yeah, that way. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, YouTube, I'm on all of them. Twitter, TikTok, I'm experimenting on TikTok. Or there is a direct link to my Calendly calendar where you can set up a free, completely impartial, no selling discovery call with me that lasts half an hour, that can go through all of this information in a little bit more detail and can also get you deciding on what your goal is so that you can start working towards it. Because you can't work towards something we don't know what it is. Okay, so again, I want to thank you for joining me this evening. I hope you have found some benefit from it. I hope you will come back tomorrow evening to the session on how we kind of make our mind work for us. So we know why it works now or how it works. But tomorrow I'm going to go more into the techniques and practices that you can do to make it work for you more efficiently. All right. And then Thursday, like I said, we'll do a summary and our live Q&A. So I hope you have a lovely rest of your day wherever you are. Thank you again. And I will see you on the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe and all that good stuff. Have a lovely rest of your day. Cheers. Bye.